Paradise production.
What's up? What's happening? Welcome back to another edition of the Minor League Take. I'm your host, Brad Case, and this week we got Eli Fishman. Say hi to the folks, Eli.
Yeah. What's up, guys? And Brad, thank you for joining me, or thank you for inviting me on. I'm looking forward to it.
This is the first time you're saying that, right?
Yeah, it was a little weird. I said thank you for joining me. That's what I'm so used to.
Yeah. So for people that don't know Eli is he's been a reporter, just on minor league baseball in general since you were 12 years old?
11, 12 years old. Yeah.
11, 12 years old. So I want to have him on to kind of show, to highlight, other paths, how to get into baseball, how to get involved. And because this is a game that we all love a lot and play. I mean, I think everyone wants to play. But at one point or another, we can't anymore. So I wanted you to come on, bring your story and kind of, show, there's more than one way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I did the baseball path too. I thought for a little bit I was going to have a chance to go somewhere with it.
Yeah.
But I looked at playing college ball a little bit, but now I'm glad the path I picked.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I think you're going to be a success. I think you're going to be on, whether it's Yes Network or MLB Network, I think you're going to be reporting on baseball for a long, long time.
Thank you.
But let's start at the beginning of the story, like we always do. Usually I ask guys about what high school baseball was like for them, but for you, it's more of, you were 11 or 12. What made you want to become a reporter at that age?
Well, I just fell in love with that aspect and, the media and the interviews and the reporting aspect of baseball. And from a very, very young age, listening to Michael Kay and John Sterling growing up and hearing, Meredith Marakovits on the sidelines and watching, football and all the broadcasts, I very, very much fell in love with that and being able to talk about a sport and, translate it to the people at home and talk about your experiences with it. And I just fell in love with that. And where the story really starts is as an 11-year-old, I live about half a mile from Seton Hall University. And they have a very good, Division I baseball team in the Big East. A lot of pro guys have come out of there.
Yeah.
And I just went and sat behind the plate and used my phone to broadcast the game. And I just called play-by-play, just like sitting there in the stands, and everyone was giving me crazy looks. And it was just a very interesting experience looking back on it. And I would write articles and interview players, and I would write up my own like scouting reports and take videos of the players.
Damn.
And I would chat up all of the scouts, because how at the games there's like just 15 scouts.
Yeah, there'd be a couple old guys with radar guns back there, and then you got this 12-year-old.
And they're all just so grumpy, and then I'm just this 12-year-old like just going around asking them questions. What'd you think of this guy? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I started a YouTube channel and interviewed a ton of players for the YouTube channel and opposing players. I would just walk up to them, and it was, it kind of became a little bit of like a Seton Hall baseball, like celebrity fan kind of guy. And all the parents absolutely loved it. I got invited to all the team banquets and the team events. So here I am, a 12-year-old. So here I'm a 12-year-old with like really no connection to this program or anything. And I find myself dressed up like in a button down and everything at the team banquet. And they were like giving me shout outs and stuff. It was a very, very crazy path up. So that's how I started. Absolutely fell in love with it there. And all the access there. They let me throw out the first pitch when I was 12 years old.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty special.
So the coach there, Rob Shepard, who's a baseball legend in the area, really, I guess he very much saw my passion, kind of said, come and do whatever the heck you want, and all that. So
dude, that's sweet.
That was a lot of fun. And then, eventually graduated a little bit and started covering the Somerset Patriots, who were at the time an independent team.
Yeah, got to play there this past summer, and that was a really nice part.
Right.
I can't believe it was it was indie ball for so long.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I was mad because I know I was supposed to see you pitch, and then I left for college the day before.
Oh, really?
In August. Yeah.
Oh,
I was there for the first couple games of that series.
Oh, no way. That's funny. Yeah, man.
And I saw your name on the probables, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss him.
Damn. No, I'm a reliever now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, so I came out of the pen during that series. But yeah, no, that was a really cool park. It was a really sick team to watch play, and we're gonna get into that stuff later. But I gotta say, like, something that I think is a little underrated. Like, I think those guys liked you so much when they were in college because it makes them feel like, you know, they're important. It makes them feel like a little bit more of a superstar. Because unfortunately, like I said earlier when we were talking, a lot of guys play baseball, and eventually, you know, we're all told we got to stop. But for you, like, even as a 12-year-old, like, for you to come up and want to know things from them, like, I'm sure they all really appreciated it, and they were all like, damn, I feel like I'm more than just some guy on the team. Like, I feel like I'm, you know, a little bit more important. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun, and obviously you get a lot of jokes cracked.
Yeah.
When you're a little 12-year-old, and I'm like a little guy. I was probably, you know, when I started doing this, I wasn't 5 feet tall. like serious. I'm not even kidding.
No, I've seen some of your earlier interviews. I remember like finding your channel a couple years ago and being like, damn, he's a tiny little kid. Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. But that's fantastic. So, you know, so you end up, you know, you start interviewing more of the indie ball guys over at the Somerset Patriots. What was your reaction when you found out that they were going to be a AA affiliate this year of the Yankees? And you are a Yankee fan, right?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up a Yankee fan, and always kind of like the Yankees were the go-to organization. Obviously, you know, went down to their spring training complex all the time and tried to get into as many minor league Yankee games as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was right before the pandemic where some Baseball America article threw out the idea. This was when the first, you know, cut of a short season and, you know, the Appy League, when that was first like thrown out by Baseball America, and they put in an article, and in one line they just said the most probable team to become an affiliate is the Somerset Patriots, and they named the Sugarland Skeeters and St. Paul Saints, who are now Twins and Astros affiliates. And I was like, that's not real. You know, that's just something they threw out there.
Yeah, it's just too perfect.
It's just too perfect. It didn't make sense, and there was no talk about it. And then just all of a sudden one day I woke up, checked my phone. This was in late 2019 when the Baseball America article came out. And then 2020, they played like a little indie ball, just like a couple games. It was like a series they just made 2 teams, and there were some guys there, and I was there, and everything was very normal. Nobody said anything. And then just one day I wake up, I check my phone, and I think it was JJ Cooper who tweeted out, the Somerset Patriots are now the Yankees AA affiliate. Trent Thunder are out. Yeah. And it was just a whole day of like mind blown kind of thing. Like this is the Yankees AA affiliate that I've been going to since I was 12 years old, have all the connections, know everyone, have a press pass, and they're 30 minutes away from my house. Damn. So it was just a day like that. And then the next day I went to the press conference, and John Sterling and Joe Torre spoke, and the management. Really? And it was just, it didn't hit me until the first day of opening day. But just like seeing John Sterling and Torre at the ballpark, saying this is the Yankees affiliate, Yankees stuff everywhere. They put pinstripes on the uniform. It's so surreal, and it's crazy. And it's awesome to see everything that's happened. And they've always been, you know, the first class independent organization. And, you know, as you know, the facilities are amazing. Oh, yeah, and beautiful. And the fans too. There's not many better in indie ball.
Those fans let us have it. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Down in the bullpen, they had some words for us.
They're passionate, and they got a lot of season ticket holders too, an insane amount.
That's good. That's really good. But yeah, no, I think that whole experience though definitely kind of widens your eyes and starts to make you realize like how close the big leagues really are, because a lot of those guys, like Steven Riding, started there this year. Ridings I met down in Cressy this past spring, and I remember throwing with him the first time and being like, "Yo, holy crap, this is going to be miserable." He's like, "I got a long toss," and before I know it, he is already 300 feet away from me, way down the field, and I'm just rolling it back to him, and then he brings it in, and he's crow hopping splitters at my ankles. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's Steven Ridings for you.
Yeah, but no, I mean, like, he made it to the big leagues this year, but he started in Somerset, pitching in that same league. What's the dude's name? Jansen Junk.
Jansen Junk.
We ended up the Yankees ended up trading over to the Angels, right?
Angels, yeah.
Angels, he made his big league debut. So I think it really starts to make you realize like how close, just being around in Double A baseball, you really are to the big leagues.
Yeah, and because they're so close to Yankee Stadium, they had a ton of rehab guys. So I got to see Gary Sanchez, Miguel Andujar, Domingo Germán, Luis Severino, Clark Schmidt. They all were in Somerset.
You guys had a lot of guys that year.
It was pretty sick.
I remember one of my buddies actually hit a bomb off of Zach Britton.
Yes. Matera,
yeah, Nick Matera. I played with him in the NECBL a couple years ago. He's a great dude. But yeah, we actually, I got to face G. Urshela at one point.
Yeah, Urshela too.
Yeah, it was weird because we weren't even in Somerset. We were all the way out in Altoona, which is pretty far from New York. But they flew or drove him out there, and then sure enough, I got to face him. And then I, of course, posted a video of me throwing a fastball by him and not the double. He hit the next pitch. So, but that's awesome. Are you? What do you think of this Somerset team and the Yankees prospect system like going forward? Are you pretty excited for them?
Yeah, I'm very excited. As you know, they especially on the offensive department, they can really hit. Especially the power. The power is pretty insane. And it's partially, I don't know if it's just because, this was my first time watching a team in and out for a full season, or if they are, really legit compared to all the teams I've ever seen. But that team and just the whole Yankees organization was really, really impressive this year. And there were so many guys, maybe it was the way they trained during the COVID year. I don't know exactly what it is, but they really showed out. So it was kind of crazy to see. And, I like to think I'm on social media, all the posting I did really, really hyped them up because now they've got a lot of hype.
You were the first one to bring the world any video on what's his name, Jason Dominguez.
Yeah.
And that, the world is ready to get set on fire by that kid. Do you think he's going to be? He's getting comped to like Mike Trout and Mickey Mantle. Is that too much for him to live up to, or do you think he's gonna, he's got a chance of doing it?
I think that is way too much. If you gotta be honest, he is very, very like raw is the word I would use, but he's very, very obviously physically gifted. And what I always say is like, it's so hard to project, and how the minors can be in terms of off year, on year, being able to hit this, being able to hit that. And it's just so unpredictable. And the dude's 18 years old having these comps and all this. And, he had those comps as a 15-year-old and 16-year-old when he was signed, which is ridiculous. But he's definitely talented. And the fact that he's 18 years old is just ridiculous. Yeah. And also he's ginormous. Like he's shredded.
It's he literally looks like a pair of shoulders walking around.
Yeah, oh yeah. He looks like he could play be an NFL running back very, very easily.
God damn. Yeah.
He looks a little bit it's almost unnatural in the outfield.
I bet like especially if he's gonna be playing center, like that's just a lot of body moving around out there. No way. Think? Where do you think he's going?
Corners, possibly first base. He's too big. He needs to if he maintains his weight, doesn't add anything, and seriously works on agility, maybe he could even stick in the outfield, center field. But the guy's like that. He's 18 years old. He's going to gain so much muscle.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't know where you really put him though, because Judge is staying in right. You're not moving him anytime soon. Hopefully they extend him once this whole lockout ends. But maybe put him in left, but left field, the Yankee Stadium is still pretty big.
Yeah, I don't know. They've got plenty of time to figure it out with him.
Yeah. But yes, we talked about Dominguez, but from the Somerset Patriots though, if there's one guy, he might have not had the best numbers this year, but who do you think has the best upside to help the Yankees, whether it's next year or in the next couple of years? Who do you think is going to be the guy that's going to be the difference maker?
That's a good question. Oswaldo Cabrera was a guy who was added to the 40-man roster. Yeah. He's been around for a little bit, and he's technically expected a little bit to be Tyler Waite's replacement this year. Utility guy, switch hitter.
Okay, he's switch one. Okay.
Yeah, he's our team has a giant swing, left-handed swing. right-handed, is kind of like line drive to all fields, but the pop is pretty good and plays a very good second, short third base too.
Our team just referred to them as Oswald and Oswaldo because we just couldn't.
Yeah.
We were like, those two names are too similar. We're just gonna go with Oswald and Oswald. Like we don't know.
Yeah,
but,
it took a lot of getting used to.
Yeah, both those dudes are gonna be really good. Personally, I've actually played back in the day with Brandon Lockridge. Dude,
Yeah.
I think he is one of the most underrated athletes that the Yankees have, that the minor league baseball has, because I feel like every single time I see him play, he's doing something incredible. He's putting up really good numbers. What do you think of him?
I've always loved him. I do think he doesn't get as much recognition because he's just not like a pop guy. Like he's not going to hit the ball insanely far. He's not going to make any like incredible plays or do anything crazy. But he's the type of guy that goes first to third on a base hit like nothing, gets great jumps in the outfield.
Yeah.
The speed on the bases is obviously insane. He puts the ball in play every single time. I saw him steal home once during this season.
Oh my God.
He's going to be a lot of fun to watch for many years, and he's going to go first round of the Rule 5 because the Yankees didn't protect him. So I would love to see him get.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
I would love to see him get a real opportunity because somebody definitely sees something in him.
I mean, as someone that's definitely not a Yankee fan anymore, not a Yankee fan at all, like it would be a shame for the Yankees to lose him because I think he's going to be pretty good. 2021, I feel like your name definitely became much more known throughout, minor league baseball and baseball itself. What are some of kind of the goals and things you have in mind for 2022 to keep, your upward trajectory going?
A lot of plans. I want to stick with the Yankees organization and specifically that. So, the goal is, I'm in discussions to start a Yankees minor league podcast. Wow. Potentially have some segments on some different platforms. Potentially continue in like the kind of scouting, like write up prospect report, write up like scouting reports for sites. There's still a lot to figure out, but there's definitely going to be some fun stuff in store. Starting the Yankees minor league podcast is definitely at the top of the list. Maybe some more. And the number one like goal or expectation or thing I want is no more Zoom and Clubhouse access. This year was just absolutely brutal. Yeah. First year as a Yankees affiliate. And, I want to build these connections and meet these guys. And, my favorite thing is like being able to learn about these guys as people and really see their personalities and see them in the clubhouse and in the dugout and the jokes they make and the, language barrier and being able to meet these people from all over the world and all these things. And in 2021, the first year covering the system like this, I was robbed of that opportunity. And it really sucked having to talk to guys on Zoom after a game, having to coordinate pregame interviews on Zoom when the guy is right there and, not being able to really experience it. So that's my biggest wish for next year. And I feel like, especially in the source game, with, being able to find out information, which is, you wouldn't have really thought you coming into this year, or I feel like I wouldn't have, and people really wouldn't think that, finding small stuff about, promotions or an injury or stuff like that in the Yankees organization would be that notable. But this year I very much learned how much people value, just a guy getting called up to the next level, even if it's a backup catcher. And there's so many people. That's another thing I very much learned this year, how many people truly care about the minor leagues in general and the Yankee system, especially. So obviously the information game, being able to build those relationships. I did a lot of that on social media and reaching out to guys and sending them videos of themselves and asking them questions all through social media, which was, and text, which really sucked this year. Yeah. So hopefully that'll change next year.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get you on the field. Hopefully you can get some more FaceTime with these guys. I will say though, it was slightly nice not having to deal with coming out of the shower after a game and some old guy standing there waiting to,
I'm sure,
ask you questions. I'm like, dude, can I please put on some pants first? Give me a second.
Yep. I'm sure.
But hey, I mean, hopefully we'll get you in there. Yeah. What do you think are like the long-term goals for Eli Fishman? Are you hoping to be the voice of the Yankees one day? Are you hoping to be on MLB Network? What's some kind of the vision you kind of have going forward with this?
Michael K's job, play-by-play for the Yankees, is
Wow.
the number one goal. And, me coming out of school, I think I'm going to be right around that time frame. Got a chance, maybe. If Ryan Ruocco goes somewhere else.
Yeah, I know they like Ruocco. I kind of like it when he announces games, although I don't ever listen to games because I'm not a Yankee fan, right? Remember?
Yeah, I love Ruocco though, but John Sterling's his time is obviously going to be up a little bit.
Yeah.
Same with Susan. So right at the time I'm coming out of school, a couple of years out of school, is when the Yankees opportunities are going to unfold. So that's the number one goal is Michael K's job. Would obviously love to do. My favorite guy is Greg Amsinger, who for MLB Network is the guy on MLB Tonight. He's like the non-player who hosts it. I love him and would love that job.
I don't know what it was, but like when I was in college is when I started watching MLB Network, and I remember seeing Greg Amsinger the first couple of times and being like, "Who the hell is this guy? Like, he's not a baseball player. What is he doing on the TV right now? Like, I don't want to hear him talk." And for a long time, I just didn't like him. And then slowly over time, I started like enjoying him more and more and more. And I'm like, all right, damn, this guy's pretty good. So I got to give him his credit because it's due. But it's just funny how like for a long time I didn't like him, and now I'm like, all right, this guy's pretty solid.
I want to be that guy sitting at the desk with like Kevin Burkhardt sitting next to Frank Thomas, A-Rod,
all
Big
these
Papi,
legends, yeah,
all these legends, and you're just like, who the heck is this guy? And I would love to be on that set. That would be, or any of those sets with like those players would be awesome.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So we mentioned the MLB lockout earlier. Is there any rumblings? Is there any words? Is there anything happening? Because I feel like there's just zero movement, and it's going to be February 15th before either side goes, oh, hey, we should probably figure this out. Yeah,
obviously very, very worried. And they said they're going to wait until after New Year's to really start any conversation. But there's you have to worry, but to a sense, like it's a business and both sides want to play baseball. Yeah. Like, there's obviously a lot of disagreements, but if you want to play baseball, you're going to figure it out. So I have confidence. I am pretty optimistic that they're going to start on time. And I really, really hope so, because
I really hope so too.
That would suck. That would just suck for everyone if there's no baseball.
Yeah, I mean, baseball. I feel like baseball has been a little bit of a hole past couple of years, especially with how all the negotiations went for the COVID year. If they can just get this done smoothly and keep everybody happy, that's gonna be great. Because at the end of the day, if they're not playing baseball, they're gonna piss off a lot of people, and they're gonna start losing baseball fans, just like we saw, back in '94.
Yeah, exactly. So I have confidence and just gotta hope. Yeah, there's going to be a minor league season no matter what. So
yeah,
I feel like that is a little bit of bit of
my 10 grand salary is not at risk right now. I'm not too worried about that. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more baseball though. So the sticky stuff scandal was a huge issue this year. With a lot of guys, you see their numbers pre and post the sticky stuff ban. What do you think ultimately of using any kind of tack for the ball? Do you think it should be in, out, etc.?
I'd probably want to ask you this question. I don't know. I feel like I don't have that much.
I
was going to say, I think there needs to be something. Just in terms of the direction of baseball, I'd want to see more action. I don't care if that's. I just want the ball in play. That's it. I don't care if it's home runs. I don't care if it's a ground ball back to the pitcher. I just want to see the ball in play. And obviously
just don't strike out or walk.
Just don't strike out or walk. And obviously the spin rate is a big part of that. And you're not going to go back, but the Rapsodo and the TrackMan and all these things, and even, you know, the Driveline, everything, these things are just such big factors in and just wanting to throw harder, period. And, you know, baseball is now a culture of you want to be able to throw 100 coming out of the pin.
Yeah.
Which sucks in my opinion.
It sucks. It's so hard. I'm trying. Man.
It sucks. And, you know, part of that is obviously the guys aren't going to hit the ball as well when, you know, every bullpen has 8-9 guys, 96 through 100 miles per hour. So that really sucks about it, and the spin rate and everything. So whatever you can do to level the playing field and put the ball in play, I'm for it. You know, I would be fine if they put at least a little bit of something on the ball, just so everyone has a level playing field.
Like a bar of soap out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because obviously, you know how like sandy and just like
how chalky and the right word, crappy the ball. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
I'm trying to think of like the right word, like the feel where it's just you just can't get a grip.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
I've always been a guy. I never realized it until this year, but I've always been a guy that I throw my sweat all over the ball. Like my hands get very sweaty, and I just do that. I never realized it was giving me like so much texture, but it does. I personally, I can swear on a Bible, I've never used sticky stuff in a game. I've seen guys mess around with it, and it definitely, you watch the results and you're like, holy crap. Yeah, that's insane. So I don't love it, but like it's a weird position for me to be in, because I don't want to look at my teammates and be like, oh, you guys are cheating. They're cheating, but like,
but everybody does.
Do what you got to do, man. You got to, I'm like, I know these guys got wives and kids and they got to try to feed them. So they're pretty good at throwing a baseball.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I just want the direction of the game to change a little bit. I really like, if there's some way to, I want to hear your thoughts on the Atlantic League moving the mound back a foot, because everyone from what I've heard, I really like that idea.
I hate it.
And
I despise it.
But listen, I feel like you would not notice. I truly, and I think that's what the pitchers have said, and that's what I've read. You don't notice. You look at the field, it's you know, it's the same thing, and it's just a teeny millisecond that gives the guys another opportunity to the 0.05 milliseconds, whatever it is, to see the ball. And I think that might make a difference.
So I really believe that when they designed a baseball field, they made it absolutely perfect by accident. Like, I don't know why they chose 90 feet, but they chose 90 feet for the bases. And it's how many plays throughout all of baseball have been just bang, bang, just so close to going one way or the other. The mound has been 60 feet, 6 inches for 150 years because someone, when they wrote down 60 feet, accidentally wrote a little squiggle above the 0 for inches, and they thought it was 60 feet, 6 inches, and 5 years had passed before they noticed the mistake. So I just think that baseball was like built so perfectly. You can't change the distance of the mounds. Just keep it where it is. I think it's good. I don't, do you really think that half a millisecond, not even half a millisecond, a fraction of a millisecond is going to be that difference? Potentially.
I mean, I know they saw like a very, very minimal increase in offense in the Atlantic League, but they need to do something. And also they've moved the mound up and down multiple times.
Yeah, they have, but that was when Bob Gibson was posting a 1.12 ERA and no one could do anything about it.
That's true.
Something I did find interesting, though, I talked to, I remember when the Pirates had Chris Archer, I talked to him one spring training quickly. And we were just talking about different fields where you like to play at. And I mean, growing up, I'm sure you can agree with this. Every field just feels a little bit different with like the height of the mound, like the texture of it, like feel of it, like even the batter's boxes. He said that was the same for the big leagues too, which I was shocked by. I thought everything was going to be perfectly the same on every single field.
I wonder in the big league and even in the minors, are there stadiums where the mound feels closer?
Oh yeah. There's some fields you're like, oh my God, I am 3 feet away from this kid right now. This is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be a fun day. And there's some fields where you're like, yo, I got to try to angle this one up a little bit, try to make sure it gets to the plate.
Yeah.
I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but there's definitely plenty of places where you go, oh, this is a very close mound. So
yeah, I remember that about high school, but in high school, it's because the mountains actually were further or closer.
Yeah, they just some guy was like, this looks far enough, and just threw the mound down there. Yeah. So I mean, like we said though, your dream is to, you know, continue going on with this sport and continue being a reporter. I think one of the kind of the big goals you could aspire for one day is to have a Hall of Fame vote. Is that something that's kind of on your radar?
That's absolutely on the radar. I absolutely would love to be, especially when another reason I would say a little bit for my success and that I want to break into this industry so bad is you do look out and you look at these Hall of Fame votes and how horrible they are from people who, you know, covered baseball when freaking Babe Ruth was still playing.
Yeah.
Like some of these voters are just absolutely horrible. And some of these writers, you know, truly don't understand the new baseball.
Yeah.
And another aspect of it is, you know, being 18 years old, how much I can relate to players and how much I can relate to you and how much, to a sense, I'm not looking for a massive story to trash someone. And I'm looking for the best story possible. In my opinion, this is what I always try to do. And I've actually caught some heat on it for social media, being too positive. I've had people, I'm trying to remember the exact words someone used.
I mean, you are reporting on the Yankees, so you do have to remember that a little bit.
Yeah, the Yankees Twitter, dude. Whew.
I don't go on there too much.
You shouldn't. Clint Frazier did an amazing interview with the Short Porch.
I got that queued up. I got to check that out.
I listened to it on my drive home from school. It was great. And to hear him completely just trash one of the Yankee writers, writers, and tell a story about that, and just tell stories about social media, and playing in New York was very, very interesting. And to see it from that perspective was awesome for me. And it really, really just makes me want to be able to be in the Yankee Stadium press box and, you know, being able to have that platform, which obviously social media has done a great job of being able to do that, being able to shine the light on the minor league guys. Yeah.
I mean, I only saw the one clip that they posted about the 4-finger thing. I can't believe that's what the whole 4-finger thing was. Four eggs. I thought they meant like ring chasing or something with rings or something with some meaning to it.
I don't know. They said they asked him. The Yankees did like the elbow, like you point to your elbow. I think it was 2019 or maybe it was 2020, and they asked Clint about it, and he's like, "No, it's a classified story." So that one had me curious.
Yeah, I'll have to check out that interview later. I'm pretty excited to get to it. But back to my, original question. Although I heard you say something about some of the ballots you see out. If I see one more ballot where they just didn't fill it out and they just handed it back,
oh my God,
they're gone. I think that if you do that, you should be gone.
Just the fact in baseball that the greatest player who ever will play this game, greatest player of all time, by miles and miles and miles.
This is where my question was heading towards. Like, what do you think about Bonds?
There's no one even close to as good as Barry Bonds in baseball history, in my opinion, period. I don't think there ever will be. No Mike Trout, no one is going to be as good as Barry Bonds was. And he's not in the Hall of Fame. Not just that he's not in the Hall of Fame, but how little the vote percentage is.
It's
horrible.
It's really insane. For a long time, though, I was in that camp of like, nah, man, he cheated. Keep him out of the Hall. He cheated. He doesn't deserve it. He did it the wrong way.
But now you look at the ballot. I guess it's kind of the same thing with the sticky stuff category. You look at the ballot, half the guys on there were steroid guys.
Do you think? I think if someone like David Ortiz gets in, then you open up the floodgates for everybody else, because he is very loved in media. People really like him. No way he gets in though. I feel like I feel like, and I understand I think it's, if one of these guys gets in, even if it's Bonds gets in, A-Rod gets in, Ortiz gets in, Clemens gets in. I would think if you do it for one, you have to do it for all. And I kind of understand it, but Bonds needs to be in the Hall of Fame. I think Bonds and Clemens definitely need to be in the Hall of Fame. I think Ortiz could one day get in. A-Rod is a different story though, because it's just how
He actually got suspended.
Not only he got suspended, he got suspended. Rob Manfred ran down to Miami with a bag of cash, ran around, did all that stuff. Have you seen that interview? Not the interview, the movie Screwball.
I don't know if I have.
It's with the kid. They have the child actors dressed up as like Manny Ramirez and A-Rod and all that stuff. All right, go check out Screwball after
I
this.
will.
Because they talk about all the crap that went down. It's pretty nutty. But I with how A-Rod acted through that, with how he acted as a player, I could see them being like, nah, man, like you didn't do it the right way. I kind of get it. But guys like Bonds and Clemens, they deserve to be in. I mean, Pudge Rodriguez, we knew did steroids and he's in the Hall of Fame. I think you should let him in because that's how it was at that time. Everybody was doing it.
Agreed. And even if you look back even further, all the 50s guys were, Willie Mays did Adderall throughout his entire career. And,
yeah. Hank Aaron's got some quote about like, yeah, we did anything we could do.
Yeah, exactly. Throughout baseball history, everyone's done something. If you were to look at every person in the Hall of Fame and actually find out what they did, I don't know. It's messed up. The whole situation sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's all. Oh yeah. All right. Sorry. I got like 3 more questions for you. So a big thing that I talk about on this podcast is the if to when moment. And for the guys I usually interview, it's all right. If I get drafted, it'll be really cool. When does that turn into when I get drafted? So for you, it's not, if I can become a reporter, it's, when I am a reporter, because for you, it was, it was a dream that you started when you were 12. For most guys, it's like, for myself, like I didn't think I was going to play professional baseball until I was 20 years old. Like I was like, holy shit, I can actually do this. When did if I can become a reporter become when I become a reporter?
I've always felt that the goal is very attainable considering how young I was when I started. And the fact that I was 13 years old, reaching out to the Yankees MLB team trying to get press credentials. And I always felt that they haven't really come through with that. But the big league team, the Pirates, actually, I got a big league press pass for the Pirates at spring training in.
Oh, really?
Was that 2020? Yeah, that was right before
damn.
COVID.
Shit.
I need to get out to Pirate City. That's what I need to do.
Pirate City is a cool complex. I'm going there every day right now to work out and lift. I'm living down here in Florida. It's a cool spot. It's just like every other complex, though. We got 4 fields all up next to each other, with that little crow's nest right in the middle.
Yeah. All those complexes are awesome. Like when you walk up to them and the minor league spring training where like you're up there and then you just look around 4 fields, 4 different games for every level. It's the coolest thing in the world.
It is. It's pretty cool, especially like when you start looking around and you're like, okay, that was a first rounder. Okay, that guy's a top prospect. Okay, this guy's so-and-so. It's pretty cool, especially just as a player to kind of sit there and watch it all happen.
It's always a culture shock a little bit, like for me, and I'm sure it is for you, when you see like every one of these guys has been through this journey and has experienced all this and is a professional baseball player. Like all these guys are professional baseball players.
Yeah. I still have to remind myself I'm a professional baseball player. It doesn't feel like it most days.
Yeah. That's my favorite part about all of this is just like hearing everyone's stories throughout the minors and everyone's journeys, and also just like getting to know, or the biggest takeaway from everything like I've been through is like how human every single person is and every single baseball player. Like you really don't realize it from afar, and obviously you are a professional baseball player, but like you look at the Jason Dominguez's and all these guys that are hyped up, and even the MLB players who look like these stars, and you see them go about their business on the field. Like these guys are so real, so like it's just hard to describe. What everyone's been through.
Yeah, you grow up just like, oh, like that's. For me, it's like, oh, that's Derek Jeter. He's like this otherworldly person. Like he is kind of otherworldly, but but like anyone on the field, you're just like, oh, this like they're this high unobtainable, like crazy thing. And then you start to realize like oh, that's going to be all of us one day. Like that's like, we're going to grow up into that. And it's really not that alien and not that foreign of a concept.
It's also just the age thing too. Like, well, I mean, obviously all the guys are like late teens, early mid 20s when you're in the minors, but like, you know, some of these kids, like they're literally children, like kids. And especially like in the lower levels, you know, going to a lot of the complex league games, like that's something that really, really like hits you when you're there. Like they're my age, they're kids, they're doing the same things on and off the field that I do as a senior in high school or a freshman in college. It's just so real. And, you know, they truly are emotion wise. Like that's another thing that obviously a lot of people don't really realize is the emotional side of it and what everybody goes through in a bad outing or a good outing or in a being cut or being sent down or all these things. Like the emotions are very, very, very real. And they're kids. Like it's a big lesson, and they're just people. And I wish a lot more people could experience the things I've experienced and you've experienced to see how real these people are. And that's another reason, like I love, you know, a guy like Clint Frazier going on a Barstool Sports podcast. Yeah. And the guys and, you know, yourself doing this podcast and the things guys being out there on social media and talking about emotions on social media is so important because, you know, I always think about Aaron Judge off the field just because, and, you know, Jeter too, and those kind of guys who seem so superhuman and have this one, you know, personality and fame aspect to them on the field. Like I think about their emotions and what they feel about every single thing. And, you know, the things we think about in normal life, just like text messages between a coach and a player, a GM and all this stuff. Like, it's just real. And, you know, that's a very big lesson I've learned. Yeah.
I mean, that was really well said, Eli. That was awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, when I start to think about like the emotions, you know, the guys at the big leagues levels, I remember 2019 watching the way the Yankee season ended and just they showed like the locker room afterwards. And I'm like, dude, get those effing cameras out of there. Like I would be throwing stuff at the camera guy right there. Cause it was just, there was so much emotion. Those guys were so devastated and pissed and it was unreal to see. But yeah.
Being able to keep your emotions intact too is like another thing, you know, obviously in those situations. And, you know, when guys throw it, I'm a big fan at like throwing at a guy if he shows you up and like that fiery, I'm a big fan of like brawls and that fiery stuff. But, you know, people judge it like it's WWE out there or like a very fake thing. But the emotions and everything, and you're truly battling for your career and your life out there. So it is that stuff, like people need to understand the emotions of a brawl or the emotions of, you know, people get judged for slamming their bats and getting ejected and all that. But that needs to be part of it. That needs to be part of the game.
Absolutely. I mean, I never fist bump. I think I did one fist bump at like the end of the year when I struck somebody out because it was my last game. And I was like, God, that felt so much better than to just not smile.
I love the pitching ninja struts, the K struts.
Oh my God. I love those. You
gotta find a signature one. I
think you just gotta let it happen. You can't like force it. You can't just be like, all right, I'm going to do something ridiculous right now. You just got to be you and let it happen.
And you got to have your stuff that day too, because you can't come out one inning, fist bump, case shot everything. Next inning, get lit up.
I fist bump. I struck out. I came in. It's the last game of the year. First inning went well. Second inning, I'm like, all right, well, this is my last inning of the year. Struck out the side, was pumped, fist pumped on the last one. Walk off the field, sit down. I'm like, yo, why am I not out of this game right now? What's going on right now? And they sent me back out there. And I'm like, fuck my shit. First guy, bomb. Second guy, warning track. Next, like I got 3 outs that inning, thank God, but they were all warning track shots. Hard hit, and there was a home run with it. So I was like, fuck, well, I don't know if I can show emotion anymore. So
all part of it.
Yeah. Just to wrap this up though. So I usually ask guys when they come on, like, oh, when is your big league club going to win the World Series? For you, I guess, when do you think the Yankees are taking the World Series?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I mean, I could see it this year, depending on how the offseason goes. The optimist in me says in the next 3 or 4 years when Anthony Volpe and Jason Dominguez come up.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you have as much money to spend as the Yankees, obviously, the Rays have come close considering they don't have a lot of money. And the Rays are probably I'm a Yankee fan, but the Tampa Bay Rays are my favorite organization in Major League Baseball because
they find a way to do it.
They find a way to do it. They have the best, I'm sure you've seen it, their development staff in the minors and everything they do in the minors and scouting and with the spin rate stuff is just better than anyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they went to the pennant back-to-back years with a $62 million payroll.
Dude, they won the most games in the American League.
Exactly. With such a low payroll, that's on a different level of Moneyball, in my opinion. I mean, it's similar, but how good they are is with such a little payroll and the way they develop players, homegrown, and find those Colin McHughs and Ryan Yarboroughs just out of absolutely nowhere is crazy. So I have a lot of respect for them. I need them. I want them every year to win the World Series just because of that aspect.
As a Yankee reporter?
Yeah, truly. I'm trying to back away from the fan aspect of baseball. It's a hard thing to get out of.
Best of luck, man. I've tried. It's just in me. I can't do it.
I feel like it's a little bit, or it's tough to decide if it's a conflict of interest between the minors and the majors, because I'm not a major league media reporter. I'm really not close. I'm not really reporting on the MLB team or have anything to do with the MLB team, but it's also their organization. So it's a little bit tough, and it's mainly the language I use. I just try my best. I do not say we. Try to
that's
not
probably
say
good.
we're a
That's probably a good
Yankee fan.
idea.
Yeah, it's taking some getting used to.
It's probably fair enough. But hey, man, as we wrap up right here, last question I ask everybody that comes on. Usually I ask them, what would you tell the 16-year-old version of you? But that was only 2-3 years ago. So what would you tell, I guess, 12-year-old version of you when you started this journey? If you got any advice for them?
A lot. Use social media more.
Okay.
That's Twitter this year, because obviously I've been doing this for so long and have, had all these videos of players that I've shared on social media and all these opinions of players and, could name hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of minor league baseball players, but I never used Twitter, Instagram, need to get on some other platforms.
I think TikTok's probably going to be the one.
I'm not a big fan.
I'm not either, but dude,
of using it as a sports platform, and obviously you need to.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But yeah, I would really, really say use social media more and writing a lot more. I've always done a lot of YouTube stuff, and this year was the first year I was doing an absurd amount of writing.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I feel like I definitely could have had a lot more articles published, and could have had articles published as 14, 15-year-old.
Yeah.
So, I guess that would be the advice.
That's awesome, man. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else you want to talk about real quick before you go?
I'm trying to think. Covered a lot. It was nice to rant about the personality thing with the minors. Fixed minor league pay. Thank God they covered. Thank God they covered. Another thing to touch on a little bit is the education part of it is something I'm very passionate about, especially for the international guys. They come here and as 16-year-olds, most of them haven't even finished high school.
Yeah.
And, after 1 or 2 years, sometimes more, after making almost no money with the minor leagues, these guys go back to where they're from and have absolutely nothing and are right back where they started from with a high school, sometimes not even a high school diploma. And some of them get literally stuck in the US. So that's another thing. I'm going to the Dominican Republic for for leaving the country for the first time for vacation this week. I'm super excited.
Awesome.
As
That's
my graduation present.
You're definitely going to go check out a complex or two, aren't you?
Well, I don't know what the situation is with COVID for the complexes. So I want to reach out and say something. I'm probably just going to hit up like the 16-year-old players who are in this year's signing class that haven't signed yet, and like just go and be like, can I? What I need to do is go to the agency complexes. You know how like the agencies.
I didn't know that agencies have a complex.
Yeah.
Are you serious? I didn't know they had places in the DR. Wow.
I think CAA has one.
Boris.
Rep 1, Boris, I think, has one too. They just have a complex for the 15 and 16-year-olds to train.
That's wild.
Before they make it big, and I really want to go to the Yankees complex. I'm also going to go to some Dominican Winter League games, and it's going to be the playoffs.
That's going to be fun.
So I'm excited for that. And what sucks, I'm trying to get credentials for them, but all the websites are in Spanish, and I try to translate them.
Honestly, man, if Ithaca offers any Spanish classes, even if you don't need them to graduate, it might be worth taking, because I took Spanish in middle school, hated it, took Chinese through high school, which was a terrible idea. So I have basically zero Spanish going into baseball, and I've learned a ton since then, but it's still like, it would make your life a million times easier if you could just be like, hey, Gary Sanchez, something in Spanish, and then boom, he can talk right back to you.
Yes, that would be amazing. I wish I was more capable of learning it.
You can do it. You can do it. Think about it.
I wish that's what I would tell my 14-year-old self.
Learn Spanish.
That is it.
Yeah.
Change my answer.
Oh man. All right. Well, hey dude, seriously, thank you again. I really appreciate this. Where can everyone find you on social media?
Twitter, Instagram is Eli J. Fishman. YouTube channel is Eli Fishman. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks again for coming on, man.
I appreciate it.